Good evening, everyone. Wow, packed house. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. We are at the May 15th, 2018 regular council meeting. Can we go ahead and take roll call, please?
Mayor Didball.
Here.
Vice Mayor Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Buckland.
Here.
Councilmember Cardoza.
Here.
Councilmember Cleveland.
Here.
Thank you. We will have Councilmember Buckland lead us in the invocation, and if we can get Councilmember Cleveland to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
Absolutely. If you bow your heads with me, please. Almighty Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of those that are gathered here tonight. We're truly blessed by your presence. We ask for your guidance and a clear vision so the efforts of staff and council will be of benefit to those who live and work in this great community. It's in your most blessed name that I pray. Amen.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you just sign? Oh, no. All right. So tonight we're going to start with a couple of presentations and proclamations. We have first our National Public Works Week proclamation. So if we can get some of the folks up here, Dave Hernandez, Greg Pranther, Sean Nelson, Eddie Ramirez, Dale Ganger, and Tim B. Go in the center. All right, thank you. So tonight we have proclamation that is presented to Public Works Week, May 20th through the 26th. Public Works projects and services create and maintain the vital infrastructure of our city and the city of Yuba City Public Works Department is proud to provide the diverse needs of the city, including transportation, construction and maintenance, water treatment and supply, waste treatment, collection, and public facility development and stewardship. And each Public Works employee plays a vital role and is valuable in the department, and together can do their utmost to answer the calls with enthusiastic, we can do it. Thank you. Now, therefore, be resolved, I, Preet Didball, Mayor of City of Yuba City, and on behalf of the entire City Council of Yuba City, do hereby proclaim the week of May 20th through the 26th, 2018 as Public Works Week, and ask the citizens and civic organizations acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which Public Works makes in our lives daily. So today, May 15th, so here's a proclamation. You all have to share. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Diana, you sure you don't want to say anything?
Thank you.
I know, why is she not up here, right? All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So next, if I can get Angela Christensen. Hi, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
So Angela is the director of Rescue Paws, a volunteer animal rescue organization working to educate the community about responsible pet ownership. Since their beginning in 2011, Rescue Paws has saved over 2,000 animal lives, and Angela has played a role since that first year. Angela spends over 30 hours a week volunteering. You can find Angela every Saturday hosting adoption events in PetSmart in Yuba City. She has not missed a Saturday event over 6 years. Wow. On any given day, you can find her updating animal information online, posting pictures of animals with detailed descriptions, and responding to many inquiries about adoption, transporting animals to other rescues that may be hours away, so not just locally then. Okay. And of course, saving the lives of our community pets that are in need. Now therefore, be it resolved, why is that?
The game's up too high on it.
Resolved, I, Preet Didball, Mayor of City of Yuba City, and on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby recognize Angela Christensen to her community service efforts within Yuba City Community Service Award. Thank you so much. Everybody's afraid of this mic. Oh, we also have a little gift bag for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you,
Dr. Seuss. Sorry, I'm a bit slow tonight. I'm completely jet lagged. Okay, so we also have the Youth Commission report. Where is Kelsey? There she is. Kelsey Myers. She's our recreational coordinator, and she will introduce the members of our Youth Commission. And there's a full-on report.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kelsey Myers. I'm the Youth Commission's liaison. Tonight, they'll be presenting their accomplishments for the year and their goals for the upcoming year. So I'm going to pass it off to them, and they're going to go through their presentation. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Vice Chairperson Genevieve Hagan, and I'm here to introduce to you all of my fellow commissioners. First, we have our Chairperson, Samir Gupta, our Commissioner, Nick Morris, Commissioner Lily Patrick, Commissioner Navdeep Ball, Commissioner Aaron Ramirez, Commissioner Joanna Jarvis, Commissioner John Krager, Commissioner Raiden Toshe, and Commissioner Isabel Smith.
The City of Yuba City Youth Commission acts as an advisory board to the City Council and/or involved Yuba City departments on all youth-related issues. Commissioners give voice to the concerns and needs of youth in the City of Yuba City and provide great leadership in the community. And some events we've done lately is the Food Truck Mania, the Harvest Festival. We attended the Christmas Stroll, and we had a teen art show.
Hello, I'm Navdeep Ball, and this year, Youth Commission held Yuba City's first ever Food Truck Mania, and the event was a tremendous success. Center Street was lined with food trucks, and at the very end, there was a 9-foot screen playing the first football game of the season. All the food was delicious, and I encourage everyone to attend next year's and to try the Hemi. It's a grilled cheese sandwich with pulled pork and onions, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Oh, and we also had a very competitive cornhole tournament, and we had a kids' corner for all the younger children. For them, we had games, prizes, and face painting, and all the kids were very sweet and forgiving, even though half the time my basketballs looked more like pumpkins. But all in all, we had a lot of fun, and we're excited for next year's. So thank you.
Good evening. On October 27th of last year, the Yuba City Youth Commission threw its annual Harvest Festival. Droves of kids came to the nearby Veterans Hall to participate in a fun day filled with games, candy, costume contest, and prizes. It was truly a heartwarming experience to see all of the kids play with evident joy on their faces. The entry fee for the festival was canned or boxed food, and we were so grateful for all the donations, as we were able to supply Mother Hubbard's cupboard with 6 whole garbage bins replete with food. We were so happy with the turnout of last year and hope to throw an even better harvest celebration this coming year. Thank you.
Last year, the Youth Commission attended the annual Christmas stroll. We walked in the parade handing out candy canes to all the children, and then we assisted at the tree lighting ceremony. We had a booth with fun games and prizes for all the kids, along with a nice winter-themed photo booth for all the adults. It was a lot of fun participating in the festivities, and we can't wait to do it again next year.
Most recently, we concluded our teen art show, which included schools from Sutter to Marysville. It was very interesting and exciting to gather all the talent that there is in the youth and display it, and I'm very excited to see how much further we'll be able to take it next year. People were encouraged to bring art supplies to donate to local schools as sort of an entry fee, but not really. Thank you.
So this upcoming year we'll be involved in the same events we've previously done, such as the movies at the park and school, summer stroll, the 4th of July parade, and the food truck mania, which was a big success.
Moving forward, the Commission would like to focus especially on the teens in the community. And so starting this summer, we'd like to host a series of recurring events in partnership with local businesses, including open mic nights, teen trivia nights, billiards nights, and movies at the schools. And by partnering with local businesses, we will be able to host events much more frequently than we've been able to in the past. So we hope to provide frequent, positive, fun weekend activities for teens in the city of Yuba City by having events at coffee shops and the billiards several times a month. And we'd also like to revive the Movies at the Schools program, hosting movie nights in the gyms of the high schools. And by doing this, we will be able to By hosting them inside the gyms, we won't have to worry about inclement weather, so we'll be able to host movie nights much more frequently. And we're really excited to foster community among the high school students in town.
We'd like to thank the council for giving us the opportunity to interact with the youth in our area. Each one of us are involved in leadership at our own schools, but you have allowed us to become active leaders for our own community. Thank you for the continuous support.
Are there any questions?
To the mayor, I do have one question for Mr. Toshe.
Yes.
And I don't want to embarrass you, but the little expose in the paper with your mother was very, very nice.
Thank you.
And I just want to know how much help your sister Isabella gave you on that project.
None.
All right.
That was our amazing youth commission. Let's give them another hand of applause. In addition, we would like to present Navdeep a certification. This is her last year. She is moving on. So we would like to give you this certification for excellence. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you, pleasure to work with you, and she also joined our Summer at City Hall program. So she's been quite involved. So thank you for everything that you've done and being a part of our community.
Thank you so much.
Keep doing it. Next, we have Regional Housing Authority report. So we got Gus. There he is.
Good evening, Mayor Didball, members of the council. My name is Gus Becerra, the Executive Director of the Regional Housing Authority. And I wanted to give you a presentation today on our agency to show you the regional efforts that we're doing. As you know, we're in 4 counties, Sutter, Nevada, Yuba, and Colusa, but definitely focusing on our operations in the city of Yuba City. You have a handout that we passed out if you'd like to take a look at it. Just quickly, in your handout is just an org chart that shows our various departments in our agency, our maintenance, finance, asset management, program management, and our planning and community development departments. As you may know, one of our core programs of our agency is the Housing Choice Voucher Program, commonly known as the Section 8 program. Our total agency voucher count is about 660 vouchers. Of those, about 650, give or take, are in the city of Yuba City. That program is a rental assistance program where income qualified voucher holders can go out to the private sector and rent from the private market. Within our Section 8 voucher program, embedded in that program, we have for the Sutter and Yuba counties, we have what's called the VASH program. We've been allocated by HUD 29 vouchers that are specific for veterans and more specifically for veterans receiving case management services through our local VA office. We received about 14 vouchers a couple years ago, and just this year we got an additional 15 VASH vouchers to help veterans in need in our community. So we're pretty happy about that. Also embedded in our Section 8 program is what we call our Family Self-Sufficiency Program. And I know Mayor Didball and Council Members Cleveland and current Council Member Cardoza, who's on our board, have experienced some of the graduates we put through this program. And just in a nutshell, it's a program for participants who are on the Section 8 program to enroll in our FSS program. And basically what we do is the goal of the program is to get folks off of assistance, to get them off of Section 8 and any other type of public assistance. They establish goals, and then we help them with local Sutter County one-stops, with any type of service group to get them to attain those goals, Yuba College. And at the completion of their 5 years, they graduate from the program and they build up an escrow account that then they take out by reducing the housing assistance that we pay. They build up this escrow account. And then they get off the program, they're off of public assistance, and then we encourage them to look into home ownership. It's not required that they do that, but we encourage them. And some of them actually have moved on to home ownership, which is really neat to see a graduate of our FSS program who at one time had very little to no income and then moves up through their own goals and their own efforts through education and work and training. They go off of assistance and then they're just employed in our community or they're homeowners or what have you. It's a really rewarding program. Another one of our core programs is what we call the HUD Public Housing Program. Our agency has a total of 173 units of public housing. 123 of those are located in Yuba City in 2 separate developments. And I'll show you here in another slide. These are our 3 developments. The one in the middle is a 24-unit elderly senior housing project located on Joanne Way in Yuba City. And the other 99 units in Yuba City are located in Richland Housing. The 99 units are multifamily, so we range from 2 to 4 bedrooms in that development. And River City Manor, they're all 1 bedrooms in those 24 units for seniors. Also in Yuba City, we have 190 units of annual farm worker housing. And these are all 190 of them are located within Richland Housing. In order to qualify for this program, you must make a minimum of $5,700 in farm labor income. Most of these families make a lot more than that in farm labor income, but that's the threshold that USDA puts out there. It's just another property that we own in Colusa that we acquired and rehabbed. Also in Yuba City is our seasonal migrant farm worker program, and that is 79 units. And when I say seasonal, it's only open from the 1st of May through the 31st of October. It's only open for 6 months, and those are state regulations. We just opened on the 1st of May, and in one day we leased up all 79 units to migrant farm workers. Most of the migrant families, most of them are repeat residents that come year after year. A great deal of them come from Texas. There's a good portion that come from Southern California. We have a few that come from Mexico. And in the last 3 or 4 years, we've even seen some families come all the way from India for the first time. Another program that we operate here in the city of Yuba City is with the former redevelopment agency of Yuba City. They purchased some single-family homes that we manage for the successor agency of the RDA, which is the city. And those are scattered throughout the city. There's about a dozen of them, ranging from 2 to 4 bedrooms with various rent ranges. We also partnered with the city on the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, which is approximately 20 single-family homes. Out of those 20, I think 17 of them are in Yuba City. The other 3 are in Live Oak. Also, those range from 2 to 5 bedrooms with different affordable rents, depending on bedroom size as well. Another operation that we have in the city of Yuba City is we partnered with Yuba Center Behavioral Health on a 6-unit property on Teasdale Avenue. And that's for folks receiving case management from our local Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health. And the referrals come from them, and we just property manage that property for them. And this is a similar property partnered with Behavioral Health, but that's located in Marysville. Other affordable properties that we have in the city of Yuba City, on Percy Avenue, there's an 8-unit project. You can see there. On Gray Avenue, we have this 64-unit multifamily project named Kingwood Commons. And on the corners of Plumas and B Streets, we have the Town Center Senior Manor, which is restricted to elderly, 62 and over for seniors there. Our Planning and Community Development Department is kind of a unique division of our agency. They do various things. They contract with different cities and counties to administer that city or county's first-time homebuyer program or their owner-occupied rehab program. And we do that both of those programs for the city of Yuba City. They're also in charge of all of our capital projects and new construction development. Our single-family owner-occupied rehab program, we administer that for the city, and that is depending on the funding sources that the city have, but we use CDBG, we'll use Home, we'll use CalHome, and that's for qualified first-time home buyers that fall within the area median income that HUD publishes every year. The city provides what's called a soft second on that loan in order for them to qualify for a first mortgage. And then we also administer the city's owner-occupied, oh, I went backwards, huh? That was the owner-occupied program. There's the first-time home buyer program. The owner-occupied program is for low-income homeowners that also fall under the HUD-published area median income. And what we do is we conduct kind of an overview of the health and safety needs of that of that specific property. We make sure they income qualify, and then we work with your building department to make sure all health and safety items are part of the scope of work. And it's also a soft loan, just like the first-time home buyer program that's deferred. Payment on these loans are triggered if the homeowners sell the property or refinance the property or try to grant deed the property to a family member, then that triggers payments back to the city of Yuba City. And so it turns into kind of a revolving loan so that you can continue to assist other families. So. Just kind of a list of other capital projects we've done in the city. And this is one that we're currently under construction on. This is kind of a before of the year-round farm worker units that I talked about. We're currently in progress on rehabbing 44 of them. That's kind of some befores of the exterior and the interior. And then there's kind of construction in progress. That's almost finished. None of our 44 units are actually done yet, but here's kind of a recent picture showing what the after product is going to look like. So, big difference from there to there. And And then there's just some photos of the finished interiors at some of the units that are almost done. And those are located here in the city of Yuba City. Another one of the things that we do is we're also a developer. And you know, we work with a lot of cities and counties on different housing projects. And here's some old public housing just to show, it's not in Yuba City, it's in Live Oak that we demolished. I know Councilmember Cleveland clearly remembers this project known as Maple Park. When the bulldozers came in, we had our board out there kind of cheering it on. And then we developed into a 56-unit multifamily housing project, and then another phase of 35 units of senior housing, all where 30 units used to be. So one of our core beliefs is land use. You know, when stuff is under density, build up the density, right? Infill is kind of one of our core beliefs, is to not, you know, infill housing. Just another project we did in Live Oak on a bare piece of land, also infill, that we built 56 units of multifamily. And then that's one in Colusa that we acquired and rehabbed. But in Yuba City, we built 10 new Farmworker units that we completed in 2015. Those were a new construction project. So those came out pretty nice. And then here's one that we just wrapped last month in the city of Williams. Just completed construction on 32 units of senior housing. And here's a planned project that we do have for the city of Yuba City, currently working with your planning department and your building department on bringing a project to your planning commission for a project located on the corner of Percy and Garn Highway. That will be known as New Haven Court. We have most of our financial commitments already, except one of those financial commitments is being held up by the state of California with some court validation process. But it'll be a 40-unit project in partnership with Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health for folks receiving services and case management through Sutter Yuba Behavioral Health. 3-story building, elevator access. So, if this funding source that's being held up with the state right now, we're hearing from state HCD that maybe late summer, early fall, those dollars will be released. If that's the case, then we could apply for what's called tax credit financing in the spring of 2019. So we'll keep you posted on that. And just another project that we're hoping to get off the ground in the city of Truckee. That one, I think we're going to start construction on that one in July, and that's a 90-unit project, multifamily. We're close to closing our financing on that, so we're pretty excited about that. Be happy to entertain any questions. Did I keep it at 10 minutes, Terrell? I was told 10 minutes. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions of the council.
Thank you, Gus. Anybody have any questions?
No questions, but come a long way, Gus, from when I first got onto that board in '07, I think it was, and going from the dyslexic, somewhat dysfunctional, and finding all the problems and going through and healing it all and changing it, and it's, wow, what a difference going from a handout to a hand up to getting people out there, and it's been very good. And the Truckee one I didn't know about. That's pretty cool.
That's a new one we've been working on.
Okay, and but all the others that you've done to make sure that the housing is there, and I think people want to take note of that one place there off of Percy, that it's going to be for some of the mental health or the assisted, uses that we're all talking about. It's happening in our community, and so just want to let you know that we are, very busy, and the housing authority is very busy making some strides in that and in solutions. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Questions? Thank you, Gus, very much. Great report. Okay, next we're going to open this up for public communication. You are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on items listed on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on items not listed on the agenda will be heard at this time. Comments on controversial items may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of their group. So at this time, we do have a couple of written requests. I will ask Bob Renton to please come up.
Thank you very much. I promise this will be very short. My name is Bob Renton. I reside near Live Oak, and I spend a lot of time at our family home on Hun Road near Yuba City. Anyhow, I wish to thank anyone on the City Council or staff who would like to challenge any of my statements that I have made. Those challenges only serve to make me work harder. So far, I have heard nothing, absolutely nothing, that would compare to what I've heard during Army boot camp training and OCS. Those drill sergeants and training officers were true experts at humiliation. Now, your own city staff document shows serious planning for a possible sales tax boost. The slide on page 24 of staff priorities and goals reveals that planning. A slide is page 24 of the previously issued and published document that I just mentioned. Now, if a member of the audience would like to take a very close look at it later, I have a few extra copies and I'd be happy to share. Finally, very quickly, the public is better served the public is better served by addressing this issue very soon through a specific agenda item, and then the council members may discuss openly, and this will enhance the city's image for transparency. My thanks to everyone listening for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lockveer Gong. Lockveer? I don't see him. Okay. All right. Those are the only written requests we've received. So now, as far as appearance of any interested citizens, members of the public may address the City Council on items of interest that are within the city's jurisdiction. Individuals addressing general comments are encouraged to limit their statements to 3 minutes. Oh, that's okay. So we do have Bobby here. No? Okay. Yeah, Bobby here. No? Okay. Maybe the large group scared everybody away. So next we have our consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items prior to the time that City Council takes a vote on motion unless members of the City Council, staff, or the public request any particular item to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. Anyone?
Move to approve.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. All right. Item number 9, we have our procurement for solid waste recycling and organic material collection services. We have a report by Steve, City Manager, please.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, good evening. The matter before you this evening started in late November of 2017 when you directed staff to go out with a request for proposals for solid waste recycling and organic waste services. 5 proposals were received in early 2018. In March of this year, you narrowed the 5 down to 2. The conversation has continued in negotiations with those 2 through our consultant, Sloan Vasquez McAfee. We have Joe Sloan here with us this evening. He will give a presentation to you momentarily. There were top priorities of the council. I like to say they're quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative meaning the number side of it. And please really at the staff level to have a recommendation brought before you this evening that meets both of those criteria. The quantitative, one proposer, that was Recology, came out in a position superior to the others. And then qualitative, they are a provider who has been in this community for a long time, and we all know the quality service that they provide to us. So with that, I'd ask Joe Sloan to come forward to give you a recap of the negotiation process. Thank you.
Mayor Didball, City Councilman, thank you very much for the opportunity to address you this evening, and would just like to say a couple of things in regards to the process that we've just about to complete, hopefully this evening. And that is, Steve mentioned the timeline, that we released the RFP in November, and here we are in May with a final recommendation to bring before you, or at least a recommendation to go and finalize a contract agreement. And I've been doing this work for a while, and I've never really gone through one that's gone through this quickly and this smoothly. And that's really a testimony to the council, the staff, but especially the participants, the proposers. The response to your RFP was extraordinary. You got 5 proposals from 5 very high quality, highly qualified proposers. We were actually surprised to see that because, as you know, earlier in the process, I wasn't very optimistic about you really attracting competitive proposals, but you did indeed attract competitive proposals. A month ago, you sent us, 6 weeks ago, you sent us to do final negotiations with 2 of those companies, Republic Services and Recology. And I have to say, excuse me, I have to say that also in this regard, after having 3 decades of experience in these types of negotiations, this was a very highly professional endeavor. And both companies brought their A game. They brought highly competent people, and they responded to every query that came from us and all the concerns of the council. So in that regard, it wasn't easy coming down to the final decision or the final analysis, because I have to say, in terms of capabilities, the companies are very, very comparable in terms of their capabilities. They each have excellent staff. They both have excellent financial resources. They both have excellent track records with their contract cities in almost every regard, even including the programs that they offered. They were very comparable. So really what it came down to in the final analysis, which it doesn't always come down to just the price, but in this case, because everything else was so photo finish, it really came down to the price. And so I've got a few slides here that I'll go through that are really, they're not the in-depth analysis, but they're a synopsis of what was accomplished in the bidding process. Is it? Okay. Okay, good. Let me use that. Thanks. Is it there? Okay, so we have the originally proposed, this is when we solicited the proposals. These were the original documents that were turned in by the proposers. Republic's original bid for the requested service on the residential side was $30.90, and in negotiation they dropped that 45 cents to $30.45. Recology's original proposal was $31.73, and during negotiation they dropped it to $29.25. We opted, because there's a whole matrix of commercial services that are every size up to 7 times a week. What we opted to do for the presentation is just show you, these are the services where by far the preponderance of your commercial customers are in these service levels. The 2-yard bin once a week, 3-yard bin once a week, 4-yard bin once a week. Those are where, as I said, the preponderance of the customers are. So for example, I won't go through the proposed rates. We'll just go to negotiated. You can see they're very close on these rates where most of the subscribers are. Republic was at $202. Recology is at $200.63. Now, one differentiator is that Republic, on their recycling rates, now that's where the commercial customers who generate cardboard, junk mail, bottles and cans, the kind of stuff that people put out at the households. It's the same type program. It's just a commercial single stream program. Republic offered to do that at 35% of their garbage rate, their garbage service rate, and Recology offered to do it at 50% of their quoted garbage rate. And for organics, Republic offered to do it at 80% of their garbage rate. Recology offered to do it at the same rate as their garbage rate. So there was a distinction there in terms of overall revenue generated through the commercial rates. But in the garbage rates, they're very comparable. The 3-yard bin, the negotiated rate for Republic was $244. It's $243 practically for Recology. So as you can see, there's $293.99 and $291.93. That's for the 4-yard once a week. Republic didn't offer a rate for the 32-gallon once a week. Oh no, they did. I'm sorry. I was looking at the organics offering there. But there's a bit of a disparity there between the negotiated rate offered by Republic and the one offered by Recology. Then on the 96-gallon, it's a fairly comparable rate, $58.76 to $61.55. Where the real disparity came in on the on-call roll-off box service, and roll-off boxes are the big boxes that you see at construction sites. They're 20 feet long and 8 feet wide and 6, 7, 8 feet tall. Those boxes, the negotiated rate from Republic per pull on that was $333. For Recology, it was $300. But where a big disparity came into play was for the compactors that are greater than 10 cubic yards. Republic had a quite higher rate than Recology. Republic was at $1,400 per pull, and Recology is at $350. So this just gives kind of an overview of the rates that were negotiated. So again, if you look just on the right column, it gives you what we did was we looked at the rates that are in place now. Then you have currently before you in the last year of your current contract, according to the rate adjustment schedule and the rate adjustment procedure protocol that's in that contract, the contractor was able to apply for a 15.6% rate increase in the last year of the contract. And that's in accordance with the terms that are set forth in the contract. And it's actually one of the reasons that you opted to go through this process, was to shed yourself of that cost plus contract condition. So these are the rates that are currently in effect. If that 15.6% rate increase went into effect in accordance with the terms and conditions of your current contract, these would be the rates that you'd see. So your current 27.29 would go to 32.26, and so you can see the comparison here. 190 would go to 225, 230 would go to 272, and so forth. That's if you apply the 15% rate adjustment. These are the rates that are proposed by the two companies that would go into effect in 2019. And so you can see that although they're a bit higher than the current rates, they're considerably lower than the rates that would go into effect if you implemented the 15.6% rate adjustment. So this is a synopsis of the total revenue requirement for the services that were proposed by both of the companies. And you can see that they're very close on the revenue requirement for the residential service, $6,000,001 versus $6,000,003. Recology's rate for residential service, or the revenue, I should say, for residential service was about a little over 4% lower than that proposed by Republic. On the commercial side, and this is primarily generated by the difference in pricing between the recycling and organic service, Republic came in 12.8, almost 13% lower than Recology on the commercial rates, a difference of a little over $800,000. On the total debris box rate revenue, this is where there became a large disparity, and it's really attributable to that large rate that I showed you on the last slide for the compactor rates. And it's in this particular case, Recology's rate revenue requirement is about 62% lower than Republic's. For the temporary bins, those are the ones that people can order up. They want to clean out their garage or whatever. The Republic rate was 11.4% lower than Recology's. But if you look at the total, the sum of all of those, the total first-year rate revenue requirement is $14,396,000, and that includes the city fees that are included in the contract, and $14,867,000 for Republic, for about a $471,000 difference. When you take those fees out, bottom line, this is net revenue to the contractor. Net revenue to the contractor, $12,800,000 to Recology, $13,200,000 to Republic, a little over a $400,000 difference, a 3.3% difference at the end of the day in what their proposed rates were. So what does that all mean? It means that this contract is set for a 10-year primary term. There are 2 5-year options that are at the city's sole discretion beyond the 10-year primary term. So the difference in revenue generated based upon the first year projection, and then what we did was we just added, for sake of comparison, we added 2.5%, because you're going to get an annual CPI adjustment. For this calculation, we use 2.5% per year. Over the 10 years, there'd be about a $4.7 million difference between the revenues generated to Recology versus those revenues generated to Republic. And over the 20-year, you can see there's a lot of money there over 20 years, $344 million to $355 million, or $11 million delta between the revenue requirements of the 2 final negotiated rates. So with that, I'll just conclude by again saying appreciated your direction in this process, appreciated the participation of all the public, and particularly the competitors, because I think they did a great job. One thing that's in your report, and I know that you're aware of it, is that Republic really brought their A game, and they did everything that they could in the final analysis, including the fact of offering you $1 million, offering the city, I should say, not you.
Thank you for clarifying.
Offering the city a $1 million check should you decide to enter into a contract with them. That they said, if we have the honor of receiving this contract, we'll write you $1 million check up front. That is I'd say it's more than a gesture. It's a significant offer, but even considering that, it doesn't really come close to narrowing that gap, especially if you spread it out over the 10-year term. So with that, I just open it to your questions, or I'll just stand by for your questions.
Great, thank you. I'll bring it to council for any questions at this time. No? Okay, so we'll go ahead and open this to the public. I do have a card from Lisa.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm Lisa Avila with Republic Services. And as you can tell from Joe's presentation, this RFP process worked. And I think all of you should be very proud of yourselves for pushing through and doing what was right for the community. With that said, I do have a question regarding the calculations, and it has to do with the green waste. And as we get further and further down the road with some of the laws that are coming into play with green waste and the responsibility of the city to have its commercial businesses recycle the green waste, I think that there's a little bit of an opportunity here. And with that currently, in the information that we had from Recology, there was 4,885 yards of green waste current in the commercial system, and the calculations were based on 982 yards of green waste. We estimate that the yards of green waste would be 8,006 yards of green waste, and that's based on an increase from what is currently happening, as well as a calculation from CalRecycle stating that there's approximately 35% of green waste in the commercial waste stream. So that alone could equal or make up about a $396,000 difference. With the $1 million that Joe had mentioned that we were willing to put forward for the community upon signing the contract, that would put Republic Services at an advantage during this RFP process instead of a disadvantage with the final analysis. So regardless of what you decide tonight, we're very grateful that we've been participating in this process with you, and we look forward to any opportunity in the future to partner with Yuba City. And the real winners in this whole process are the residents and the businesses, because they're going to get better service and they're going to get a better rate. And that's really what you guys set out to do, and I think you've accomplished that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Anyone else who would like to speak?
I probably don't need to announce myself, but good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. My name is Dave Vaughn. I live at 732 East Hillcrest Avenue here in Yuba City. I also serve as Recology's Vice President and Senior Director of Business and Marketing Development. And so with that, I want to just come up tonight. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to participate in the process. I do agree it's made us a better organization. We're proud of the services we provide to everyone here, and we look forward to continuing to earn your business over the course of the next contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Anyone else? No? Okay, so we will bring it back to council for questions, comments of staff, process.
I'll be happy to go first, to the mayor.
Yes.
I think there's a couple important pieces that Joe went over tonight. They've been gone over time and time again, but for answers to the public that maybe this is the first time that they've been here or have heard any of this, I just want to cover a couple of the items. Why did we, the City Council, embark on this path of competitive bidding? I'm not going to try to answer for the other council members, but I'm going to answer for myself. We are currently in a contract negotiated more than 7 years ago that was done behind closed doors, absent of public input. While the company Recology and predecessor iterations of the business provided exceptional service and community support, the negotiations for the new contract, the one we're currently in, languished until the 11th hour. Recology management approached the council 5.5 months past the contract due date to remind the council that the contract termination date was upon us in a short 20 days, and that they were no longer obligated to collect waste in the city. The blame for the protracted negotiations seemed to be in both directions. This wasn't worth repeating in the future. The contract in the final version wasn't something that I could support. The primary reason was the rate stabilization fee designed to protect both parties from public scrutiny regarding rate increases. The final objection was the cost plus provision, ensuring the provider an 11% profit on defined operating expenses. What influenced me as a member to engage in this process was to be open and honest with the ratepayer through open meetings where details could be discussed and public comment heard. The options were: 1, enter directly into negotiations behind closed doors where the council would be protected from the public. Or the second one, to conduct the entire process open to the public, certain of public backlash. And in my case, the answer was simple. The market and fair rate needed to be tested by all qualified bidders with a fair opportunity to enter the proposal process, thereby stimulating competition in a manner conducive to sound fiscal practices. To eliminate the possibility of favoritism, fraud, or corruption in awarding a contract worth over $130 million. This has been a successful process as it was designed. It engaged competition the likes of Recology, Yuba City, Atlas, Waste Management, Republic Services, and Waste Connections. The unfortunate facts of the process is not everyone qualified at a high level to warrant going further in the process. Even more unfortunate are the attacks and misleading information related to a local business indirectly connected to the process by their desire to expand their business model. I know by the context of comments in emails sent to my attention, those responding have been provided false information. And let me set this record straight. All efforts by Recycle Industries are that of a private business and not of the City of Yuba City. The RFP process, designed at the direction of the council, was led by Sloan Vasquez McAfee, which leveled the playing field in an apples-to-apples comparison, ensuring retention of Recology employees. This process identified 2 strong proposals. The process was not looking for the lowest bidder. Had that been the case, neither of the finalists would have made it to negotiations. There was a lower bidder. I want to thank Recology Yuba City and Republic Services for their well-crafted and strong proposals and desire to negotiate in a fair and competitive manner. This agreement isn't complete, but the base work relieves the ratepayers of liability for closure and post-closure costs related to the landfill in Marysville, the relocation of Feather River Organics, and capping consumer price index adjustments. As a result of the recent negotiations, I can and will support continued negotiations directly and exclusively with Recology Yuba City to provide waste collection services for a term of 10 years with 2 5-year extensions, thereby stabilizing the financial obligation of the city ratepayers.
Thank you. Stan or Manny first? Go for it.
All right. Okay. I'd also like to thank Republican Recology for this long process. And I also would like to say John did such an excellent job. He took the wind out of my sails here, I'll tell you. I want to also thank the Recology family, because it's been some tough times the last few months, 6 months to almost a year, that employees going to work hoping that they have a job to come to when this was all done or with. And I'm glad that the process is done. It was done very calmly. Well, there was a little bit of turmoil, but here towards the end, it was done very calmly. And thank you very much for both companies for doing this. And we'll have Recology, and we're working with the city. We'll mend some bridges and get back to having a good workplace, working together for years to come. Thank you.
Through the mayor.
Cleveland.
Thank you. This is my 3rd contract process full process and came in on a county supervisor when it had just been all gone through, and I didn't know what the contract was. So actually, this is my fourth time through this process. I just wanted to let you know a little bit about where my concerns came from, the initial concern. I serve on the League of California Cities Environmental Quality Policy Committee. That's a statewide cities dealing with all kinds, anything environmental. And one of the primary issues we have had the last 2 years, and will for quite a while, it was solid and is solid waste. And the legislation implementation that's going on, which you, the citizens, and myself are going to have to recycle our food waste, but not meats and oils. I mean, they've gone crazy on some of this stuff, but we're going to have to do it. And based upon what I have learned on that committee the last 2 years, and studying about the different legislation that are being implemented, I looked at our contract and looked at the legislation that's coming, and I said, this contract, while I don't like cost plus, it's broken on another level. The fact that it was not going to fulfill or be able to be modeled in a way that could fulfill the requirements that are coming. So the claim that it was broken was absolutely wrong. The contract was broken for the future. We needed to make a wholesale change on many different levels and categories. So we had to do something. I definitely, we were very clear from the very beginning, the staff and the council, as what we wanted to achieve. Very clear. While sometimes it gets lost in the emotion and the communication, and sometimes we speak in a more technical language than what most people can understand, we have to be very careful on how we communicate and the words we use. John? You were too concise. You really took a lot of the wind, as Manny said. But we wanted to discontinue the cost-plus contract model, stabilize or standardize the rate increase formula, retain highest quality, safe services as possible. This included retaining the employees, achieve the best value, which was not the number one issue, change residential, the philosophical approach to recycling, which is to remove the excuses for not putting waste, excuse me, this wind has still got me messed up in my chest. Putting waste in the correct bin, which I know Jackie is always talking about. Well, this removes their excuse for not putting it in, because we're going to have large bins, and so if they don't have it in there, we will have the ability to go and say, you have no excuses. Please help us reduce our contamination from 25 or 30%, hopefully down to 5, 10%, hopefully 5. And that makes it easier for the waste collector and processor to process it. It becomes less costly for them to process, because you have certain contaminants in there and they have to throw it into the landfill. So, I mean, it makes the landfill tonnage go up. So all these things were part of our goals, is to actually try to get closer to the waste zero, as is talked about all the time. This is the way we saw to do it. Okay, the claim to sharpen the pencils didn't work. As you can see, the pencils are very sharp, and thank you for coming to the table, Recology, and actually understanding what we were trying to do and make it happen. It's an honor to have people that will do that in our community. So while the cost was not an endgame deal breaker, this contract will save millions of dollars to the ratepayers when compared to the old contract proposed. As it was said, the 2018-19 increase of more than 15% will save. Now that alone itself will save over $1 million a year to the contract, and if we'd had it continue on before. It'll drop at $1 million. The 18-19 will be at a certain level, and then the next year it'll drop $1 million, which means your rates go down. As an example, who in here actually would have a 96, has a family that has a lot of waste and stuff, does a 96 bin, gallon bin. That's $64. It'll go down to $29. $435 a year savings. Because it's not based on the volume, it's based upon a default of 96. You're not going to produce more garbage. You're going to produce the same amount. We just will have bigger bins for everything else. So that philosophy we have changed, and hopefully we can, it'll work, and I can't see why it would not. So the sharpening the pencil worked extremely well. Let's see. Not transparent. This claim was misleading to the public since the ones saying it know that almost all draft data and information from the city and the proposers is confidential. Most of it is proprietary. We couldn't reveal anything. So for them actually to put pressure on us, mislead the public that we're not being transparent, we're not letting people know, for me was at best ethically bankrupt. It was misleading the public and created a division in our public and our community was absolutely not necessary. So that division, I hope, will come back and see that we did our legal duty the way we are required by law to do it. I'm very happy with the end results that have happened. We have more services, new machinery. Everything's supposed to be brand new unless we negotiate some other provisions in the next stage of the negotiations. But more services at a less cost, and new machines and new equipment. So I think this will be something, if it continues, it will go the 20 years. I would expect, since the pencils were so sharp, I would expect at least 20 years on this contract. That's my expectations. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Harris.
To the mayor. What a wild ride we've gone through as a community the last year or so. And I tell you, with a comment from Joe over here saying that our proposers came together very professionally. I'm really proud of that, and to hear that, and people, because anyone who pays attention to Facebook, and I try to not to, but I tell you, it's all over the map. Some of the things that have been said out there, and I think me personally, almost to 1,000 emails. I think we almost 1,000 emails. So, that alone tells you it's a very contentious, very emotional issue. The fact that we are overflowing in this room today, a very emotional issue. And we come together as a community. We come together with the benefit of the experience of Joe Sloan and company, Vasquez and McAfee. The professionalism they bring to the table, very, very fair. Everybody gave it their best shot, and we came to a conclusion. I think it's pretty clear now. It's also not a secret that, based on, again, I'll speak for myself, would love to see it streamlined it a few months earlier, a few tens of $1,000s earlier, and a lot of emotion and stress on some employees from Recology. However, the results are here. We came together and we made a decision as a council. We stand by that, and I think the process did work. I think it's come through, and I'm looking forward to moving on in the future here with our Recology. That's where I want to vote. So, again, I'm proud to be sitting here representing you. I'm proud to take the time to do the homework and do the research and talk with folks about this issue. I've learned more about solid waste management than I ever thought I would ever in my entire life. But it's a good thing, But I don't want to belabor the point, but thank you all for your participation, however slight, and here we are moving forward together.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. And just a few comments from myself. I believe in the bidding process. I believe in competitive bidding. It was something that I felt very strong about, to come in and look at a contract that's 40 years old, that has not gone through a competitive bidding process over all of these years. I felt very, very strong about the need to do this. I believe in the process. It's important. That competitive bidding is what made everybody sharpen their pencils. We came to these type of negotiations, this type of decision, and I mean, the services of, we wanted the highest quality of service. We got it. We look at the rates. We've decreased the rates. We've looked at every entity. We took a deeper dive into this contract, and what we wanted for the citizens, for the people in this community, is what we were striving for, and that's where we are right now. I know the emotions were high. We got plenty of emails, plenty of Facebook posts. I wasn't going to respond to it. I know the emotions are high, but this is just part of business. This is part of making the best decision with all the information in front of you. And I think through this competitive bidding, I strongly believe we got the information. Everybody came forward. Everybody was a professional. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much to all of the competitors that put their best foot forward and did what they needed to do. You are passionate about this community. Both of the competitors, both of the proposers, you can tell. But you know what? We came down and we penciled it down, and here we are. So thank you for your passion. Thank you for wanting to take care of this community, because together we will continue to do that. We're professionals, we're adults, and we went through a very, very emotional process, and we want to do the best for the community. That was what I stood here for from day one, and I will continue to do that. And that's how I feel. I feel we're right at where we need to be. So with that being said, I would like to see negotiations continue at this point with Recology from the information that's been forwarded here.
The mayor?
So if we want to discuss any further or have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we enter into final negotiations for solid waste, recycling, and organic material collection services agreement with Recology Yuba City.
I'll second.
And with that, I did forget something. There was an accusation that we spent more money than we should have. And I can tell you that I would rather spend $10,000 to $20,000 more dollars and save $1 million a year. That's a pretty good investment, return on investment. And I believe that that's what we did here, digging deeper, as was mentioned by the mayor, and finding all the details. And I can tell you, with what we got, there is absolutely no way we could have come out with a contract like this if we'd have gone through negotiations. It's so varied, so different of a contract. If you go out and compare them, you'll look at it and go, wow, it's two different worlds. So there's no way we could have done it through negotiations. And I think it was a fantastic investment, just a few $1,000s more to make that savings for you and me on my rates.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Why don't we do roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Cardoza,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilmember Buckland,
Yes.
Councilmember Cleveland,
Yes.
Mayor Didball.
Yes. All right. So that being said, a motion has been approved to move forward with Recology at this point. It's gonna, we'll give it a few minutes. It's gonna clear out the chambers.
What? Yeah, we gotta get after it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Huh? You didn't have coffee yet?
So I straight across the street from
Where? That's nice. Did you get to the top of it? Oh. Looks beautiful inside.
They were like afraid of you.
Quickly to the point. My way. Hey now, hey now. That was fun.
So we will move on to our next agenda item. I'm sorry, my speaker's not on. Enforcement strategies regarding the use of dangerous and illegal fireworks. We have Pete and Rob.
And Pete, before we start, you lost your first house. You lost your full house tonight. Remember last presentations you had?
I was
full
just
house?
going to say, Mayor Didball, members of the council, I was a little bit shocked because the police chief and I were talking. We thought for sure
They would
everyone was
stick
here for
around?
our presentation, but so I'm a little crushed, but we'll get through it. Okay, we'll be quick here. So we're here to talk to you about the 4th of July because it comes up every time this time of year. So here we are. So this is what we like to see. And Chief Landon and myself are here to talk a little bit about what the strategies are and tactics as we get closer to the 4th of July. So this is what we want our community, right? This is what I showed you, this we showed you last year. This is what we like in our community. This is what we like to see. This is what we don't want to see. We don't want to see dangerous and illegal fireworks because they cause harm and they burn things down. So just for a quick recap before we get into this stuff, what are illegal fireworks? It's really simple. Illegal fireworks are anything that goes up in the air or explodes. That's the bottom line. And if it doesn't have safe and sane on it, and it doesn't have a state fire marshal seal, it's not a legal firework. So it's either an illegal or dangerous firework. So our goal is to keep those out of this area and prevent some of the things that are occurring that have been occurring in the past in this community. So with that, I'm going to let Chief Landon jump into the ordinance, and then I'll come back and chat in a minute.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Enjoy speaking with the fire chief here and joining hands with this project. Again, last year we came before you to promote a social ordinance, and basically it gave us the opportunity to administer administrative citations and also to hold responsible parties responsible along with the person that is lighting off the fireworks. So it gave it a lot more ammunition. We passed ordinance 5602.2, and again, this is exactly what I just talked about, with the violations being $1,000, not to exceed $1,000. They were all $1,000 fines. That's what they were cited for. The results of the 2017 proactive enforcement, we issued 24 illegal fireworks citations. The revenues received covered the cost of additional proactive enforcements. And if I might just plug Rich Detmer for a second, he was the one that did administrative hearings. And we paid him a certain portion, and everything that we paid him, he donated back to the members of the fire department and police department who lost houses during the fire last year. So that was just something really neat. We responded to 231 calls for service for illegal fireworks during the July 1st through 4th period. 52 of the calls for service originated from our YC 311 system. 2018, some of the things that we've talked about doing and being more proactive even than last year. Number one, we're going to continue to increase our fire and police staffing between July 1st and July 4th between 7 p.m. and 2 a.m. Specific police units will be assigned to illegal fireworks enforcement. We learned last year, I think we probably should have known this, and especially you council members and law enforcement, that people do see us. We stand out in a marked unit. So we're going to have more unmarked unit this year than marked units. Additional dispatch personnel will be there to help handle the calls for service. Additional fire engine staffing to address the increased call volume, and also additional fire staffing to support the proactive enforcement. We are trying to partner up with Sutter County right now. Their staff has stated that they will be presenting a similar fireworks ordinance for the Board of Supervisors to consider. We've talked to them. We don't know where that is right now, but we have talked to them through the process and are more than willing to help them out with anything they need from us to get that going. The county staff has also suggested that they would like to join in the city's public awareness for the Safe and Sane or Feel the Pain campaign to ensure compliance. We also have reached out to them, and we will continue to reach out to have them do like they did last year, which is provide a deputy to help patrol the area that is currently under their law enforcement presence, but under the police or under the fire department's jurisdiction. It's you.
So one component was obviously the proactive enforcement that police and fire will be doing, and with additional staffing and response. The other part of that is the public education part. So some of the things we're going to be doing this year is we'll be working at the summer stroll with the Youth Commission and sharing a booth with them, and as well as public safety personnel. We're going to have actual examples of illegal fireworks that we confiscated last year. We'll have them on board so people can see what they are, so they can recognize what are illegal fireworks. We'll have safe and sane public education material for the adults. We'll have public education material for the kids, and lots of handouts, safe and sane type of handouts, such as bags and brochures and other things, to try and really educate the public at the summer stroll what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and what's legal and what's illegal. We're going to work with professionally designed informational flyer to go along with other city materials. We'll be doing that this year. We have posters. I think we got like 500 posters still from last year. We'll be getting those out to all the businesses and fireworks booths. So I can guarantee all the fireworks booths will have posters in them, as well as a lot of the businesses. We'll ask a letter from the mayor so we can put that in the Peel Democrat about the ordinance. We'll be putting things in newspapers and magazines and radio announcements, and of course our water bill inserts. So we're going to try really hard to hit a lot of the social media aspects to make sure people really understand that that we will be citing people, and that we mean what we say when we say it. It's very important. I'll let Chief Landon talk about New Year's Eve.
Okay, trying to keep you guys going back and forth here. The question was posed about New Year's Eve, and we do understand that that is another time where we do have fireworks problems. But during that period of time, the police department is already at maximum enforcement. And what I mean by that basically is all our patrol cars and most of other cars are already occupied doing other events, and that most of that entails driving under the influence patrols. Last year, for instance, that should be 2016, we only had 7 calls for fireworks, illegal fireworks, from the 7 o'clock through 2 a.m. And 2017 had 16 total calls, even though we gave them a better avenue to call us, our citizens a better avenue to call us. All the calls are focused right around midnight, our busiest time. We have the most officers out there. And if we do, and we still may consider that depending on how our staffing is handled that night, we do understand that we are going to respond to those calls. And if we see anybody doing that, we're going to doing the illegal fireworks, we will cite them. We will not need additional funding for that. We may bring on a couple officers, and the time frame will be a lot shorter than the 7 to 2 a.m. ballpark. But again, we are more than at the council's discretion. We will definitely want to hear what your opinion is.
So for New Year's Eve, for the fire department perspective, we're going to go ahead and maintain normal staffing levels, but we'll evaluate the need as we get closer for additional engine companies. And if we decide to put additional engine companies on, we'll just go ahead and absorb that in our current budget. So we won't be asking for any additional funds. Obviously our wildland threat, or hopefully our wildland threat during that time, will be greatly reduced because it'll be wintertime. So that takes away that component that we usually run into with grass fires threatening structures. And then usually, just because of the cold weather and the humidity and everything, doesn't mean we can't have structure fires due to fireworks, but the risk of that is greatly reduced. So, but we'll take a look at that and see what we need to do as far as staffing. Some of the other options for the 4th of July, obviously we're always working on enhancing our children's 4th of July parade. That's a big one for us. We know that the Yuba City Arts Council has discussed holding a community fireworks event on the 4th of July in Riverfront Park. To date, we're not aware if a final determination has been made to hold this event or not. or if they're going to plan on beginning of 2019. Once we receive additional information, we'll provide an update to the council. So I'll be happy, Chief Land and I can answer any questions if you like at this time. And we'll end it with a little video.
This 4th of July, make sure to stay away from illegal fireworks, or you could be charged up to a $1,000 fine. With $1,000, you can send a child to summer camp for the entire
It's not
summer.
showing.
So remember,
So, Madam Mayor, I promise you in this next year we will fix the video.
We've had some challenges with that video.
with $1,000, you can send a child to summer camp for the entire summer. So remember,
Feel the pain.
July, make sure to stay away from illegal fireworks, or you could be charged up to a $1,000 fine. With $1,000, you can send a child to summer camp for the entire summer. So remember,
That never gets old. We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Through
Yeah.
the mayor. All of a sudden, my mic got a little hot. You know, thank you for your efforts last year. The 1st through the 4th, I'd like to see that actually extended to the 5th. Apparently, our residents don't understand that the 4th of July is the day to celebrate. And they have extended this celebration, and it certainly depends on day of the week that the 4th falls on. But they do like to blow up neighborhoods over a period of time, and it does extend into the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Now, my wife's birthday is on the 8th of July, and she believes that those fireworks are for her, but it's just a carryover from the 4th of July. So I certainly would like to see some effort made even further into that. The time frame in which they blow up the neighborhoods probably is from what I see on the south end of Yuba City. The 4th of July, they start blowing it up. And this is another one of these oddities. They launch stuff into the air like mortars when it's still daylight. That baffles me. That just seems like a waste. But I think they also have a fear of the enforcement period that may be occurring. You know, a lot of that carries off into 3 o'clock in the morning on the 5th. The other nights, it seems to be earlier in the evenings and kind of dissipates right around 11-ish, 12, something like that, you know, from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. As soon as it gets dark, they like to torch them off. Then after that, again, I don't know if it's the beer or what goes on, but they continue to launch whatever they have left that they didn't get caught with by the police. So that's important to me, that we maybe look at an extended period of time, maybe even shorten up the hours so it's not so late on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but yet we can really pick up the enforcement on the other parts. You know, I live a bottle rocket's distance away from the county all around me. I live in the city, obviously, but I have residents near me like Darren Gale, who lives back behind me, but he actually lives in the county. I have just across one set of homes, it's the county. And that's over towards Lindcrest School. I live at 1478 LeGrand Avenue, in case anybody wants to come by and have a cup of coffee with me one day. And then to the south of us, we have Southland Village area. And these are all county areas. They don't have an ordinance. It baffles me why they haven't stepped up, seen exactly the same problem. They've heard the complaints. They know the complaints, and how we can encourage them. So if there's any discussions that you're having moving forward in which they seem to want to hesitate, I'll be more than happy to point about 200 very angry city residents in their direction in one of their supervisors' meetings in which they may want to push forward an ordinance. The other issue that comes up, and I agree with you partly on New Year's Eve, but the one piece of enforcement that we need probably more focus on is the use of gunfire. Again, I have a business off of Spiva Avenue. We just put a new roof on it, and this year we ended up with 3 leaks on it. When the roofing guy went up there, it was due to penetration of 22 rounds that had gone into the roof from above. So they were shooting them into the air, they're falling onto the roof, and ruptured brand new roofing material. So it happens. I'd be more concerned about some type of public outreach regarding, continue to do outreach over illegal gunfire within the city in conjunction with the illegal fireworks during that period. Enforcement-wise, I would agree it's a pretty short period of time, though my dogs don't believe it's a short period of time because they go nuts for many hours after the fireworks go off. So, and I probably listen to them more than I listen to my own wife. So, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, points to bring up? Nope. Okay. Thank you. We'll go ahead and open it to the public if anybody has any comments or questions they would like to bring. No? Okay, we'll bring it back. And it looks like we have a recommendation.
Do you want me to make the recommendation, Madam Mayor?
Yeah. That's what we're waiting for.
I would authorize the financial director to record supplemental appropriation of $25,000 from unallocated funds to the accounts listed below for the 2018 illegal fireworks enforcement and educational campaign, and then also to recommend you try to implement some of the items, or at least all the items that Councilman Buckland has mentioned, and I saw you taking notes, so I think you're already going to be trying to do that. That's my recommendation.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next agenda item is a presentation of our investment report. We got Spencer.
I'm not sure what the Chiefs were complaining about. This is the largest crowd I've presented to in a very long time. Good evening, Mayor Didball and members of the council. Tonight I bring before you the Treasurer's quarterly investment report for the quarter ending March 31st, 2018. And before I turn the slide, I must apologize for holding this backwards, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Terrell. I have a typo on the very top of this next slide. That first market value number for the portfolio is actually $109 million, and the city-held portion of that is $103 million. Our finance department is very deep into budget at this point, and I don't have a lot of proofreaders willing to look at anything other than budget. So the trustee-held portion is $3 million. And this is a 3.6 net increase over last year, or last quarter at this time. And the notable transactions were property tax receipts from the county and other distributions, about $13.2 million. Bridge Street construction is underway. We incurred about $2.5 million so far. Sales tax receipts are $3.4 million, payroll $7.5 million, and flood control projects about $9.6 million. About 17 investments matured or sold, and 12 were purchased. The average yield sold was 1.34%, and the average yield purchased about 2.4%. And I'm happy to say that I just saw the first bond go through, or I think it's a corporate bond at over 3%. So things are starting to look up for the first time in my first and second term. So it's nice. The city-held composition, The biggest portion of our holdings are in cash or cash-like investments, as you can see Leif in the purple on the right-hand side. Agency bonds, like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, made up about 14.4% U.S. Treasuries, 11.1% muni and state bonds, 3.2%, and corporate bonds 13.3%. So just under half of our portfolio is in bonds. The rest are cash and cash-like investments, commercial paper, and CDs, making up about 58%. This maturity distribution reflects a conservative portfolio that favors anticipated increase in interest rates and modest economic growth in the coming quarters, as well as large construction-related cash flows, mostly from utilities, flood control, and the 5th Street Bridge project. This is a different slide tonight. Was asked of me last quarter to show of the big $109 million portfolio, how the money is actually being held, where does it belong. And you can see in the blue on the left-hand side that a great deal of this is being held in the utilities funds, and that's including CIP, operating funds, and debt service, or debt bonds. That's about 2/5 of the total holdings. Other holdings that are major would be CIP, would be the non-utility CIP, and flood control agency. Those each make up about 1/5 of the holdings. And the other 20% is the district's general fund, internal service fund, special revenues, trust and agency, and so forth. So as you can see, about 4/5, again reiterating, or about 80% of the portfolio is utilities related, flood control agency, and non-utility CIP. And I mention this just because of the $109 million. This is not, these funds are already directed, already programmed. They're being held for specific purchases, projects, and operations. Are there any questions from the council?
Thank you, Spencer. Have any questions? No? Well, thank you very much for your report.
Just a comment.
Oh, yes.
Great job, Spencer.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Councilman Cardoza.
It looks like everybody's still awake, too.
Oh.
There is that.
Spencer, you're an elected official. Take the heat.
She meant it as a compliment, Spencer.
All right, next we have the lease of the Madden House for of Yuba City Chamber of Commerce offices.
Good evening, Mayor Didball, council members, Darren Gale, your Economic Growth and Public Affairs Manager. This evening I'm joined by Marnie Sanders, your new CEO for the Yuba City Chamber of Commerce. So those who are here might want to...
Thank you. It's executive director.
Sorry,
but
executive.
yes, I'm pleased to be here tonight, so thank you. I don't know if you want to.
So this evening, we're both really excited to be here to talk about the Chamber moving into the Madden House. The Madden House is located on the corner of really Main and Main to some extent on Highway 99 and Franklin Boulevard. And it's a beautiful home. It was donated to the city a number of years ago as part of the development of the Winco development, and it's been set aside for public use. That building has been used to house our Parks and Rec Department. It's also been used to house the Economic Development Corporation for a number of years, and the Chamber of Commerce was most recently there and had another project in Marysville that they worked on, and we've been working with them since to try to bring them back in there if it's something that works for them. Just a little bit about the lease. This what's proposed to the council this evening is a 5-year lease, so it begin June 1st of this year. The chamber can terminate the lease at any time, so if they find that the spot is not suitable for their needs or they grow and they need to move out, obviously we would not want to hold them back. The first year, rent would actually be $1 for the entire year. In exchange for that, the Chamber has generously made an offer to make us a partner of the Chamber of Commerce, and we would receive sponsorships to a number of the events for the first year of the terms of that lease. So instead of us having to buy a table at the annual dinner, they'd provide that in exchange for the reduced rent. Following that, the rent would start at $1,250 per month. There was a bullet point that wasn't really clear in the staff reports. I wanted to make sure that you knew that is a monthly rate, and that it would go up $100 each year. So over the life of this lease, the city would receive approximately $67,000 in lease funds. And what we're looking to do is just maintain the facility. The city would not be looking to make any money off the Chamber. We're just excited that the Chamber is looking forward to come back over and to locate there, like I said, really on the corner of Main and Main here in the city of Yuba City. If you have any other questions I could ask, I can answer them. And then one last thing is at the end of the lease, the Chamber does have an opportunity to extend for another 5 years. However, it would still be contingent upon us working out what the lease rates are. We'd go back, just make sure over the last 5 years that we didn't have to subsidize the cost of the Chamber being in the building, and the city will maintain the building for the entire time that they're there. The Chamber obviously would have to pay for for all their utilities, along with day-to-day janitorial services of the building.
Great.
Through the mayor, if I may. What about insurance?
They have to provide insurance.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
To the mayor. So I think one of the things I'd like to see is that the maintenance of the exterior be kept up. That's an important feature to all of this, and I know that there's provisions to be able to do that. But additionally, as space is available, especially in the evenings, I'd like to see an opportunity possibly to bring on something like an economic prosperity board or something of the like that would be able to use that facility. I don't know if it would be on a monthly basis or every other week, looking to help businesses grow in our area. And I know that that's not the direct responsibility of the Chamber, but if space were ever made available, that would be one of those features that I think would be beneficial to both the Chamber and to the city of Yuba City.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Absolutely, if we do get to reside in the 1300 Franklin building again, we want to, open it up to the community to have events like that. We're really interested in spending more time with our members and our local business owners to really better understand what their needs are and how we can best help them. So we plan to have a lot of events happen in that home, and that's a wonderful idea as well. And we've also talked about potentially with your permission, to be able to share that space with some potential nonprofits in the area as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Anybody like to speak from public? No? Okay, we'll bring it back to the council.
Mayor, being ambassador representing the city of Yuba City, the Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to adopt the lease with the Yuba City Chamber of the Madden House and authorize the city manager to sign the agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Great.
All righty, pack your bags.
Thank you very much. We're really excited about moving. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure that you made that motion as a council member and not as a...
Like I said,
there you go.
All right. Next, we have business from City Council. Item number 13 has been pulled for discussion by staff at this time, and it will be brought back for a future meeting. So we'll do council reports. We'll start with Councilmember Buckland.
Uh-oh.
Did you lose?
My schedule has been fairly light, but inundated with other council issues. I did attend the Sacramento Area Council of Governments Government Relations and Public Affairs Committee. And just a couple of things I want to bring forward. There's actually a couple of assembly bills and a couple Senate bills that need the attention of our public. Assembly Bill 1771, our committee the other day moved to oppose this bill. And part of it is that bill looks to remove local land use decisions, and it increases the HCD's appeal process. All of the action taken in the appeal processes is all going to be data driven by this assembly bill. We think it's dangerous as written. It can be modified, and we're asking for modification to that assembly bill so it does not increase the appeal process first, and that there be some definite decisions made on what actions can be driven off of the data. Also, Assembly Bill 1952. This is access to food. We're supporting that, especially in our area. I think we need to look at this because there are food hub programs that can be established. These would be new businesses. It does fit into our rural urban connection strategy at SACOG. And currently there is $11.2 million in grant money not appropriated yet for the food hub process. So we are supporting that, and hopefully the state of California would see to appropriations for that. Assembly Bill 2596. This is a Go Biz, or Economic Prosperity 5-year plan. Certainly the state of California is looking to become more involved in economic prosperity and trying to increase the capacity of Go Biz. So that's important, and that also could have definite consequences for new businesses, especially those trying to locate within the food hub organizations that will be coming forward. Senate Bill 1184. This bill is a direct result of the Sacramento Area Council of Governments Civic Lab project. We're looking for the ability to test autonomous shuttles. These are small shuttles for the transit systems. It would be a test area down in the southern Sacramento County area. It'd be limited, but we're looking to be able to do that. Currently, state law does not allow such tests to go on. But again, the Civic Lab projects that I spoke about previously are the brainchild of our CEO down at SACOG. And this is one of those exciting pieces as we move towards some disruptive technologies. And then I think one of the funniest ones that we're trying to support is Senate Bill 1162. This is a cleanup piece of legislation. There was one piece of property left in downtown Sacramento within the sphere of the Capitol that was limited on its height, the ability to build at certain levels above and possibly block the view of the Capitol. And I think, as everyone joked, it's better to block Brown's view than to have to look at him. So we say build it higher, taller, and wider. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. We have Councilmember Cardoza.
All right. Had a few fun things this last couple of weeks. We'll start with meetings. Attended the Sutter Buttes Flood Control Agency meeting, Sutter LAFCO meeting, Government School Liaison meeting, and the Homeless Consortium meeting. For chamber events, I attended a ribbon cutting for On Point Solutions, And then also the chamber hosted 2 political forums here at City Hall. I was part of that. City events, attended in a swearing in of our brand new police officer, Nathan Livingston, with Vice Mayor Harris and Councilman Cleveland. I attended the Citizens Police Academy graduation ceremony last week. They had, I believe, 30. So we have 30 new folks, citizens, helping our police department within our community. So they're very happy and they can hardly wait to start volunteering. Went down and I visited our 5th Street Bridge construction office. I met with staff, brought them some donuts. They showed me what was going on, everything. And right now everything is going very well, smoothly. No hiccups this time, knock on wood. And if any of you folks would like a tour of the project, we're offering tours the first Thursday of the month, of each month. They'll call into City Hall, let them know, make an appointment, and you can meet out there and they'll give you a tour of the 5th Street Bridge. But right now everything's moving smoothly. They're going to start going into the river. They have 4 months being in the river, and they're going to start on June 1st. And it's going to take them a month just to set up before they can even begin to do the work on the river. So they have to be out by the end of October. Continuing on, community events. Started off, I went to Farmers Market. It started down at the town fountain. We have a variety going this year. They're gonna, and in the months to come, they're gonna have wine tasting on Saturday morning at the farmers markets. They're gonna be every other Saturday. They're having burritos made, cheeses. So the farmers, besides vegetables and produce, it's getting bigger and bigger every year. So I'm really happy with that. I attended the National Day of Prayer here at City Hall. The Crystal Apple Awards with Vice Mayor and Stan. That was honoring teachers in our Tri-County school districts. The students of the schools nominated teachers and they awarded them. Went to the May Theater Gallery Artist Reception at our theater. Vice Mayor and I, we did the Girls on the Run. We, with the police department's POA, Police Officer Association, we helped cook pancakes and serve over 200 people. Vice Mayor and I also attended the Tahara wedding. We made a little presentation. That was quite a fun time. Also, Vice Mayor and I attended the Bistro in the Buttes, sponsored by Family Soup. We did a lot of things together the last couple of weeks. And this morning, Stan, myself, and Sean, we attended the 3rd annual Hmong American Veterans Memorial Day service. And yesterday, I was a guest speaker for the Dolls meeting. That's Dolls of Leisure. Gave a presentation, what's going on with the city, what's new, and what's going in the future. And that's it for me.
Thank you. We have Councilmember Cleveland.
Well, since most of mine was already mentioned by Manny, I'll just say 2 of them. I attended mosquito vector, dealing with our mosquitoes in our area, and they're talking about them. And at this time, there's not too many of them out in the city area, so we're doing well there. And they're reporting very few at this time, a little bit lower than normal. So they're very happy about that. But
So going to Sacramento on Friday.
the wind definitely sent a lot of them out of the area this last couple of days. And then other than that, I will mention, League of California Cities Sacramento Division Board, which is a large rural area of Northern California. And we rotate from city to city for our quarterly, 3 of our quarterly meetings, and then we meet at the annual meeting wherever it is in the state, and just discussing the different issues that we have in our rural areas and how to bring them forward to the full group of the League of California Cities, and developing the issues that we're going to discuss and work on for the next year. So we met in Grass Valley and had a good presentation also from the CAL FIRE on some of the plans and the new safety. Actually, one of the program that we're getting in our city for training for the emergency fire service. So they were discussing some of that and a few other items. But other than that, that's it.
Great, thank you. And we have Vice Mayor Harris.
Well, I too have to whittle down my list because Manny hit a lot of the high points. But I was able to volunteer at the Fairway to Health golf tournament supporting the Right Out Foundation, which is a very good cause. Soon to be affiliated with Adventist. Attended the teacher appreciation event at Yuba City Arts over there in Marysville. They too had an event just appreciating generalized teachers, some good presentations, some student artists present. It was very good. There for about an hour. Very good group of people over there. I was able to speak regarding organizational leadership for a group in town that meets monthly regarding business practices and how to network. That was a primary focus on that. Give them my 2 cents anyway. And then, of course, a lot of reading regarding solid waste management. A lot of reading about that. So that's it for me so far.
Thank you. Yes, there was lots of reading. I actually don't have much from the last city council to this time because I was out of the country. So I just literally just got back. I'm still facing jet lag. But I hope that many of you had the opportunity to watch the CNN show, United Shades of America. Yuba City was quite represented on that show, and that took place on May 6th. I also wanted to inform everybody that Summer at City Hall is getting ready to hold their first session, June 11th. 30 students have been selected of the 56 that applied. Orientation did take place today for the students as well as their parents to go ahead and complete the last paperwork and get them ready and going. So we're really excited about launching that program again this year, and excited that the students are excited as well. So aside from that, I don't have anything else since I wasn't here. So, just want to make an announcement that the Yuba City Police Department Police Memorial will be held tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And that's going to be at the Yuba City Police Department, right in the front. Okay. All right. Aside from that, we'll go ahead and adjourn for the evening. Thank you.